who is the first person you want to talk to when you get to heaven? Besides Jesus.
Oh, well, goodness, that was the answer.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I don't know. I don't know who. There's a lot. Who would you say?
Paul, for sure.
Okay. Why?
I just find him so interesting in everything that he did and all the stuff that he wrote for the church. I don't know.
I'd like to have a talk with Adam and Eve.
All right. Who really?
Do better.
What's going on here? Welcome, episode 30 of Beyond the Cove. We're back here at the offices. We had a great staff retreat.
Wah, wah.
No more St. Simon's Island. That was a fun time, man. You talked about heaven. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot we can.
I feel like I talked about my grandmother more.
I want to talk about that a lot too.
Goodness.
Because my grandmother texted me yesterday. Of course, my mom and grandmother watch every single service that we have and podcasts and all the stuff. Okay. But she was like, "That was so good. I was crying talking about his grandmother." And I was like, "Well, okay, I got to bring it up now on the podcast."
Right. That's right.
Well, we're back. We're halfway through Hebrews. You think we hit the halfway mark?
I don't quite think we're at the halfway mark.
Almost
We got a lot of names. So
yes,
the first half, I guess we're halfway through Hebrews 11, but the first half, it's like verses per person. We're going to get to like the summary statement where like there's so much more that we could say about this person, this person, this person. And each time a name is listed, we're going to pause just like the front half. And so the author just kind of breezes past the second batch. We're going to kind of slow roll through it. I think there's only 1 week where we do two names at the same time. The rest of it, everybody's going to get devoted time and talk about the type of faith they had.
I want to jump into something funny here in just a second, but what was something from Sunday and Sunday's message that you may not have gotten to that you thought, man, I could have dove deeper into that in the sermon, or something that you could have put in there, you ran out of time? Or I want to kind of get a bird's eye view of that for just a second, kind of get into your mind a little bit and see, is there anything that you might have left out that you wanted to throw in there? Because you only got so much time. We also took the Lord's Supper on Sunday.
That was special.
We
tried to find more opportunities to do the Lord's Supper as a church. And so coming at the end of summer, kind of landing the plane. Next week, we commission all of our teachers, and then we're back to school, and then it all happens. And so this was just a special time. And it was also when we were talking about heaven, right? Yep. And there's this posture of anticipation that I think we should have. And some people don't like to think about that because it's, well, I'm thinking about death and I'm thinking about the end, and I want to live, my fullest life right now. And so some people try to avoid thinking about heaven because they feel like it's almost, morbid to think about what happens after right now. Right. And yet Scripture's called us to live with hopeful anticipation that we are going to get to see in face to face. The brokenness that we live in, it's only made right when Jesus comes back and we're at the end, right? And so we aren't, as hard as we try to create good civilizations, as hard as we try to do the right thing in our society, as hard as we fight for Christian values in our culture, and we need to do all of those things. Like we have to advance the cause of Christ until he calls us home. We don't get to be complacent, but it's never going to reach perfection. Until we find ourselves face to face with the Lord. And so we have to live with that anticipation. Right. We have to live with that hopefulness. And so I think more than anything, it's the evangelistic side, right? This was kind of more for the church member Sunday. The person who's walking with the Lord, who's called to live with that type of anticipation. But the charge, I think, that we could have dove into more if we had more time. I just need like 3 hours on a Sunday morning. If I had 3 hours every Sunday morning, it would be great. But helping our people, and this is why the podcast is so important, right? Helping our people understand that as you live with hopeful anticipation, you must be calling people into the lifestyle of hopeful anticipation, because there's a lot of hopelessness in our world. There's a lot of brokenness in our world. the lostness is so prevalent, I believe, because people, one, don't believe that heaven exists. Yeah. Two, don't believe that heaven is their eternal home. And we need to help people understand that the gift of heaven, the gift of salvation through Jesus Christ, it's as readily available to them as it was to us.
Yeah.
And Scripture says that for whosoever will, right? It's not this idea that, and we got to be careful here because I know there's theological opinions everywhere, but I don't believe that somebody who hears the gospel and has an encounter with the Holy Spirit can't be saved. Right. I believe if God has placed them in a position where they're hearing the gospel, where they have an opportunity to respond, if they respond, salvation is available to them. But the implication there is that the people living with hopeful anticipation, the people on the journey to heaven, they're the ones carrying the gospel to be able to meet these people where they are.
Right.
I love, David Platt wrote it in his book Radical. Others have said it. The church is God's plan A, and there is no plan B.
Right.
And so if we want to see our lost neighbors come to faith, if we want to see the people that we work with come to faith, if we want to see our children come to faith, it happens through our faithfulness as we are both living for eternity, but we're living as citizens of heaven right now, introducing people to the hope of Jesus. And so there's this whole evangelistic implication here that we have to be about kingdom work everywhere that we go. And so I don't know where you are or where you're listening to this. I know there's a lot of people that listen to our podcast on the way to work, or at the breakfast table, with their spouse before work, or at home if you're a stay-at-home parent, or wherever you are. People listen to this all over the place. I heard somebody say they work out to us at the gym. I'm like, that's not motivation. I would not work out to us at the podcast. 2, 3. Yeah, that's maybe get a different playlist for the gym.
More power to you if you're doing that, though. That's awesome.
But no matter where you are right now listening to this, look around you.
Yeah.
There are people wherever you are. Now, you may be at home by yourself. There are houses next to your house full of lost people. There are people driving down the road next to you right now who are lost. There are people working in the offices next to yours or sitting across from you at the coffee shop that are lost. There's so many people who need hope.
Yeah.
And our hope only comes from Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's a hope that we can walk in right now. When he saves us, he doesn't save us just so we can experience eternity. He saves us so we can walk with him right now.
Yeah.
There's a joy, there's a hope that comes from salvation in the present, but then we also get the promise of the eternal.
That's right.
And we talked about the eternal. I think if you're listening to this, the charge on the other side of a message like that is you gotta be intentional about helping introduce people to this hope.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, and our church has used this and we still use it, the 3 circles evangelism method, right? It all centers around this idea of brokenness.
Right.
Because everybody resonates with brokenness.
Yeah.
We have all felt it. We all know that society's broken. We all know that we're broken. And what that evangelism method does is say, well, God didn't intend for that. Sin entered the world, we sinned, and that's caused the brokenness. And the only way that we get out of the brokenness is by turning back to God, right? And so in the same way that everybody resonates with brokenness, I believe everybody resonates with the need for hope.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that's promising hope.
Yep.
There's a lot of fleeting things. There's a lot of temporal things that say, put your trust over here, put your resources over here. We'll help you live your best life. Yeah. We'll help you get through these things. And we look so temporally at the things that offer us hope, but yet really aren't lasting. And yet God says, no, there is a message of hope. His name is Jesus.
Yeah.
And because of what he's done for you, not only can you actually experience real, lasting hope today, but there's a hope for tomorrow that you won't fully be able to understand or realize yet, but you can begin to cling to because of what you've seen me do today. You can have faith that I'm going to do it tomorrow as well. And as we grow as a church, we've been walking through this idea, asking, what is the core mission of our church?
Yeah.
And it centers around this idea of hope.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give too much away, but 2 weeks from now is Kickoff Sunday.
That's right.
August 16th. And on August 16th, Kickoff Sunday, we're going to, in essence, unveil the finalized version of our church's mission statement. Yeah. And that's, I believe, going to be a rallying cry for us.
For sure.
It fits right in the middle of our Beyond initiative, helping provide clarity and form to our church as we think about expanding ourselves to another campus, as we think about leveraging what we have here and reaching this community. It's going to center around this idea of hope. And I think that's the message that comes out of this message that I really didn't get to.
Love it.
It's that, yes, eternity is real. Yes, there's a final place for you, and it's heaven or hell. And what you do with Jesus matters.
Right.
And we can live with the anticipation of dread, or we can live with the anticipation of hope. And I can't imagine living with the anticipation of dread. And there are a lot of people that are on their path and they don't even realize it, right? But we all want hope.
That's right.
And so we've got to be about the Father's business. We've got to be sharing our faith. We've got to be pointing people to Jesus and inviting them to the journey to eternity with him. And so if you're a Christ follower, if you've experienced the hope of Jesus, man, you've got to share it. And the people sitting around you right now while you're listening to this might be the very first people God wants you to do that with.
That's great. I think of two things when you were just talking. The old hymn, "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus," and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. I love that phrase. Yeah. It's so true. When you keep your eyes focused on Jesus, the things of this world are just temporal. And you realize that over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but you start to see that the older you get. So I want to transition into the story with your grandmother and talk through us a little bit about that, and just how I love how you just opened it up Sunday morning. So my grandmother, I was like, okay, I like it.
Yeah, she, I said it Sunday, made probably, on one hand, I can count the people who have made such a profound impact on my life. She is among the very first of them.
Yeah.
And it's just knowing her heart, knowing the things that she went through. Like I talked about how well she had her life put together and how much of an encouragement she was. It wasn't that way all the time.
Sure.
She experienced brokenness. She experienced the pain of life.
Yeah.
She lost a spouse. Like there's lost a spouse multiple times, right?
Wow.
So I never met my biological grandfather.
Wow.
He passed away years before I was born. And so the grandfather I knew was really a step grandfather.
Wow.
And then he passed away with cancer when I was very young.
Man.
And so my grandmother's been widowed a couple of times.
Sure.
And just watching her life, though, I can remember back. So I was in the martial arts, have been in the martial arts my entire life. As a teenager into my young adulthood, I traveled pretty extensively with a Christian martial arts performance group. I mean, we'd go break boards, sling weapons, throw people on the ground, just create a ruckus so that way people we could gather a crowd and then share the gospel. Kind of like a power team method or whatever else. But I mean, I got to travel military installations all over South Korea. Great. I got to most of the states in the United States I've done stuff in. And so we traveled a lot and got to do this evangelistic crusades. It's really fun. But during that time, I don't know when, I mean, it was close to the turn of the century, probably 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. The song "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me was really prevalent. And so I put together something with that song, and it was really kind of an evangelistic primer, if you will, in it. And so my grandmother knew nothing about the martial arts.
Yeah.
In fact, my mom owned a martial arts business after school program. I mean, that was my first job, was helping run the family business there and teaching. And my grandmother, she ran the office for a number of years. Well, they all called her Master Mama because I think they all just said, we called her Mama, M-A-M-A. Yeah. That was her name. Her name's Billie Jean, but we called her Mama. And so at the Taekwondo school, the studio, they all just referred to her as Master Mama. They thought she had her black belt. And actually, a number of years later, the president of our big national organization came in and he awarded her an honorary black belt.
That's cool.
And so my grandmother's an honorary black belt.
Nice.
She never took her high heels off. She would never step on the mat. Like, she's very proper. But she ran the office and helped my mom in the business. Yeah. And so she didn't know anything about the martial arts. She could tell you, though, if it looked right or not.
Yeah.
And so I would be choreographing and putting stuff together, and she'd be sitting beside me. And I'd be working. She said, that didn't look right. That didn't make sense or whatever. She has no clue what she's talking about. And so I'm just reworking it until she thought it looked right. Yeah. And I put this thing together so I can only imagine. And that was the first conversation I had with my grandmother about heaven.
Really?
And I don't know why that struck me yesterday afternoon, after I preached it. I mean, it's 24 years removed now. And just Mercy Me singing about I Can Only Imagine, right? Wow. Thinking about heaven. That was and she might have said it sooner than that in my life, but that's the earliest time I can remember talking about heaven with my grandmother. And so it wasn't when she was 93 that she figured that out. I mean, we're talking, she's in her late 60s, early 70s. At that point, we're having the conversation and she's already thinking about it.
Wow.
It was already something on her mind, and knowing that the things of this life, they were growing more and more strangely dim in light of his glory and grace, in light of what Christ had done. And so it gave her hope for today. Yeah. Right. That's the other one. Great is thy faithfulness. Right. Strength for today, bright hope for tomorrow. That's how she lived her life. Yeah. And I think that's the testimony that she gave me. And that's so when I think about heaven, I think about her. Yeah. And then the jealousy that I have now, knowing that she's there, she's probably playing the piano, giving the choir instructions on how to do better. You know, those things are all happening in heaven right now. But she's there, and she's getting to experience that which she had hoped for so long. And now I get to live with that same kind of hope. And I get to know that one day I'm going to be there too.
Yeah, exactly. Here's our hot takes. I asked ChatGPT what people wonder about heaven. So here are some questions.
Oh my goodness. I may not be able to answer these questions. You might have to edit this.
You'll be able to answer. Will we have wings in heaven?
No. No, you will not. Angels get them. We do not.
Will there be golf in heaven?
Ooh, I don't know.
If there is, you will not slice or hook. You'll just hit it straight.
Perfect shot. I mean,
so that kind of takes out most of the fun, though.
You're shooting an 18 every time you go play. Exactly. I mean, that's
okay. Will we recognize each other in heaven?
I think so.
I think so too. And that's exciting.
Yeah, Scripture says that you will. There's neither giving or taking in marriage, right? So the relational dynamics might be different,
right?
But I think you will. Yeah. I think you will recognize each other in heaven.
Okay. Who is the first person you want to talk to when you get to heaven? Besides Jesus.
Oh, well, goodness. That was the answer.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I don't know. We think about the dynamics of heaven. We think about who's going to be in heaven. We think about what heaven's going to look like. I think the most important aspect of heaven that I try to continually remind myself about is the fact that I get to be in his presence.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing's going to compare.
That's right.
Nothing's going to compare. Yep. However, I do have a list of people I'd like to ask some questions.
Next question.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know who. There's a lot. Who would you say?
Paul, for sure.
Okay. Why?
I just find him so interesting in everything that he did and all the stuff that he wrote for the church. I don't know.
I'd like to have a talk with Adam and Eve.
All right. Who really?
Do better.
What's going on here? Let's see. What's the first thing you hope to see in heaven?
The throne room.
Yeah. That was my answer too.
I mean, that's where you get taken to when you read Isaiah 6, when you read Revelation 4, like it's the throne room. It's the spectacle. Like when I think about heaven, my mind goes to the throne room because of those texts. Mm-hmm. That's what we get. I mean, we get more. I read from Revelation 21, the new heaven and the new earth, and we see that. We know the effects of heaven, but just it's just the overwhelming presence of the Lord in the throne room is.
How old will we be in heaven is a question that most people ask.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's an eternally perfect body in an eternal state. And so I don't think age matters. Time and space dynamics do not, they don't fit the same way that we think about them.
Right.
I don't know. Like if I had to pick, I would go like Heath circa 2005, 2006, right? The ripped version, super healthy, very athletic version.
Yeah.
That's the
glorified body.
Yeah. The glorified body, the pristine chiseled body.
Yeah.
Like that would be great.
Yeah.
I I don't know. Whatever God wants.
Next question. This is the last one. Will we wear choir robes in heaven?
I sure hope not.
Oh man, I think it's funny to see what people.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me if dogs go to heaven. That's usually
in there, but I didn't want to go there.
Right.
I have my thoughts. I'm sure you.
What are your thoughts, Pastor Luke?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. But
any animals?
I don't necessarily think no animals will be there, but I don't think your cat or dog is going to heaven.
Okay. Correct. So
yes.
our house pets, the dogs and cats and animals that we love, they don't have a soul.
Exactly.
As hard as it is to say, even if cats had souls, I don't think they'd make it. But especially the one that lives in my house, he's like psychotic at night. But the animals that we have, they don't possess souls. Right. They're not promised eternity, right? However, I think there's evidence. I mean, the Lord's going to come back on a horse.
Yeah.
Like there's evidence that there are animals in heaven. It's a new heaven and new earth, a new perfect existence. Animals existed pre-fall. And so that was part of God's perfect design anyway.
They have a purpose.
They have a purpose.
Yep.
All creation is to bring glory to God. Now, do we hear specifically that there's going to be animals in heaven? No. Is my dog at home going to make it there? I don't think so.
Hey, look, there's Binksy.
Oh, Lord, I hope not. But I do think that we will experience animals in some way in heaven.
It's really interesting to think about the lion and the lamb.
Yeah.
That's always the reference people give. Oh, lion and the lamb. It's
sure. Well, that's imagery.
Not really,
That's imagery. There's a lot in Revelation that is, John's best attempt to give us a picture in our mind of what we're experiencing.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily think that that's literal.
We just lost half of our listeners. No,
I know. He said my cat's not making. I'm never listening to this again. Oh, goodness.
We have 5 minutes here. We're going to wrap up here in just a second, but talk to us where we're heading next in Hebrews.
Yeah, so going to Isaac this week. And so if you're tracking along with us, we did Hebrews 11:13-16. The next couple of verses talk about Abraham. But when we did Abraham, we kind of hit both of those episodes at the same time. But the second episode of Abraham leans into the sacrifice of Isaac. And so you see the faith of Isaac kind of in that moment, right? He wasn't a small child. He's the one carrying the wood. He's big enough to know what's going on. And when Abraham says God's going to provide the sacrifice, you just know there in the back of his mind, there's got to be the wondering of what's about to happen. But yet he still went. He was still faithful. But in Isaac and in that piece of the narrative that we have in Hebrews 11, he's the first one now that we see the generational faith on both sides, right? So God meets with Abraham. God meets with Noah. God calls up Enoch. And you see this direct relation with all of those before. Isaac is the first one to receive and then to pass on the faith.
That's good.
Right? Now, there'll be, Jacob's going to be the same that follows him, but just focusing on the generational faith that we see in the life of Isaac as one who's been a recipient by his father, but also is going to pass down the faith. And so I'm excited about that. It's the day before school starts. And so just getting to talk about the implications of generational faith. And we're going to be commissioning and praying over all of our educators. And so public, private, secondary, graduate level, homeschool, like all of our educators, we're going to take an opportunity to pray over them and to encourage them. And just that idea of generational faith, we've got to be focused on and intentional about passing the faith on.
Right.
And so I'm excited about where we're going this weekend. And then the few weeks after that is our kickoff season. So we're actually going to pause for a couple of weeks, the Thread series, and kind of lean into kickoff, talk about our mission statement that we spoke of, and all of these different ideas about who God's crafted us to be as a church as we launch into kickoff. And so August is just going to be a great time here. And so if you've been traveling and out and about, man, this is the time to jump back in and to be in. Worship attendance was going back up. Yesterday you could tell like the room was full both times, and so we're getting to the end of summer. We're starting to see the excitement in the room, and I'm thrilled about what God's about to do.
Me too. do a shout out for Mickey Bell. It's coming next week. He will be on the podcast. So
special edition episode 31.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what to anticipate, but
he might get us fired. If you've watched any of his videos, he picks on Southern Baptists, he picks on churches.
That's right.
And so I don't know.
All in good humor.
It's in good humor, but you might have to hide my face.
That's right.
Change my voice and blur my face so nobody knows it's me on the video.
Oh man. All right, Pastor Heath. That's it. We're out of time. Anything else before we head
Details on that so people know what to expect. So Thursday night, August 13th, what time?
7 o'clock.
Here at the Worship Center.
It's a free admission, so just come and enjoy it. And invite your friends.
Look him up on social, Mickey Bell.
For sure.
He's hilarious.
And he's got a great testimony too, and he'll do that towards the end and transition into that. He's a big proponent for Celebrate Recovery, so if you know anybody that's in Celebrate Recovery, people that support that, he loves to support that as well. So that's part of his testimony. So I'm excited, man.
It's good stuff.
It's going to be fun.
Good stuff. Hope you guys are there.
We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us.